All right, let's dive right in. Today, we're talking about AI in human resources. But, this isn't really a story about technology. It's about something far more human, and that's trust. We're going to explore how building that trust is the real secret to unlocking AI's potential in the workplace.
And this quote, it just nails it. Think about it. If your employees and your candidates don't trust the systems you're using, even the most amazing AI is going to fall flat. Trust isn't some nice-to-have bonus. It is the absolute foundation for any HR innovation that's built to last.
We are, right now, stepping into a completely new era of collaboration between people and AI. And this isn't about replacement, not at all. It's about partnership, and it's fundamentally shaking up how HR gets done.
This really shows you what that perfect partnership looks like. On one side, you have AI, which is an absolute beast at crunching massive amounts of data and knocking out those repetitive tasks. And what does that do? It frees up HR professionals to double down on what we do best: empathy, making those tough ethical calls, and building the real relationships that make a company culture great.
But like with any revolution, there's always a flip side. AI offers this incredible promise, for sure, but it also comes with some pretty serious risks that we absolutely cannot afford to ignore.
So let's start with the promise, because the opportunities here are huge. We are talking about slashing the time we spend on admin tasks by up to 80%. Just think about that. That means more time for strategy. It means more consistency in your processes, real data-driven insights to make better calls, and the ability to scale up HR without just hiring more people.
Okay, but here's the peril. If an AI is trained on biased data from the past, it won't just copy that bias. It can actually amplify it, making it even worse. Then there's the risk of leaning on AI too much and, losing our own critical thinking. And of course, whenever you're dealing with sensitive employee data, you've got massive privacy and accuracy issues you have to get right. This quote just perfectly sums up the challenge, doesn't it? We constantly have to weigh what's technologically possible against our own human values. The critical takeaway is that ethics has to be the one steering the ship when we implement these powerful tools.
So, how do we navigate this whole promise versus peril thing? Well, the answer is actually pretty simple. You build everything on the one non-negotiable cornerstone: trust.
Let me be perfectly clear about this. You don't get to pick one, efficiency or fairness. It's not a trade-off. In the long run, the only AI projects that are going to succeed are the ones that nail both, because fairness is what builds the trust you need for people to actually get on board with these new systems.
This right here is the ultimate gut check. Before you roll out any AI tool, just stop and ask yourself this one question. If the answer isn't an immediate, confident yes, you have to go back to the drawing board. It takes this abstract idea of data privacy and makes it super personal, right? Now, to navigate all these complexities, you need a practical guide. Let's call it an AI leadership compass. It's basically built on 4 core principles that help you build trust and use AI responsibly.
The first direction on our compass is fairness. This means you are actively hunting for and eliminating discrimination. It's not good enough to just hope an algorithm is fair. You have to test it and test it again to make absolutely sure it's giving equitable outcomes to everyone, no matter who they are.
Second is transparency. Look, people have a right to know when a machine is influencing a decision about their career. Being open and honest about how and why you're using AI isn't just a nice thing to do. It's absolutely essential for building that psychological safety you need for people to buy in. Our third principle is accountability. An algorithm can't be held accountable, right? But people can. At the end of the day, AI is just a tool. It's the HR professional, the manager, the leader. They're the ones who are ultimately responsible for the decisions made with that tool. And finally, we have human oversight. This is your safety net. Think of AI as creating the first draft, but never the final word. You have to keep a person in the loop to add context, use their judgment, and catch any mistakes before they affect a real person's life. Now, if you want a real-world example of what happens when you ignore these principles, you don't have to look any further than Amazon's AI hiring tool from back in 2018. It was trained on 10 years of resumes sent to the company which, surprise, were mostly from men. So what happened? The AI literally taught itself that male candidates were better and started penalizing resumes that had the word women's in them.
The lesson from this is huge. AI will just keep repeating the biases of the past unless we actively step in. This whole case gives us a clear 4-step plan. Figure out where bias could sneak in, audit your data for those historical problems, constantly test for fairness, and always, always have a human in charge of the final call.
Okay, so we have the principles. Now let's talk about how we actually turn all this into practice. How can organizations take these ideas and use them to build AI that people actually trust?
This table lays it out so clearly. If your risk is algorithmic bias, which can lead to discrimination, your solution is to do regular bias audits. If your risk is a lack of transparency that's causing employees to lose trust, your solution is crystal clear communication. See, for every major risk, there's a practical, ethical solution.
Building trust isn't something you do once. It requires a whole system, and that system is called an AI governance framework. You start by setting clear policies, you assign specific people to be accountable, you constantly monitor and audit your systems, and then you use what you learn to keep getting better.
For a fantastic real-world example of this, just look at IBM. Their AI ethics board puts every single HR tool through intense fairness and privacy checks before it's ever used. This isn't just about ticking a compliance box. It's about building credibility and showing their employees they're serious about this stuff.
And that really brings us to the biggest takeaway here. As our technology gets smarter and more powerful, the human part of HR, the empathy, the strategic thinking, the ethical gut checks, it doesn't become less important. It becomes absolutely critical.
So as we wrap up, the final question isn't about what the technology is going to do next. It's about what we are going to do with it. The future of HR isn't going to be written by algorithms alone. It's going to be written by leaders who figure out how to masterfully combine the power of innovation with the wisdom of empathy. So the question I'll leave you with is, how will you lead with both?